Keep going.
I got something to say. That's only 3 songs I can.
A little bit more. One more time. One more time.
I got something to say.
At the same time, it was so traumatizing. So traumatizing. Like the same Hasidic Jew was the first guy that I ever slept with for money. That same man, it was weird. It was kind of like, it was interesting. Like, what is he doing in his life and his religion that makes it okay for him to want to do this? Why, you know? But it was also super traumatizing to my religious self because I didn't trust any more religious men after that. Anyone of some kind of important status. No pastors, don't talk to me about God. Like, because you've got this Jewish person who spends his life defined by his religion. He wears a top hat and curls.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah, I got
and it. You, like, to the point where it's ritual, it's your life, and if you don't do it right, you're disowned, you lose everything. And you decide to sleep with a prostitute, right?
I got something to say. Welcome. This is I got something to say. I'm SAF Moe, your prison lawyer, with my man
Ron B in the middle.
And we are
the voice of the voiceless, the
yes,
only
sir.
voice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For you, we got coming to you with Noelle. She did some time in Shakopee. She's gonna tell us some stuff about her. I mean, it's like I know her from writing and things like that, and I know her struggle. But I'm sure she's going to enlighten us like most of the women from Shakopee has done so far.
Yes, sir.
What do you think, Ron?
I can relate with her on a lot of levels.
Can you?
I talked to her, I spoke with her already, and we have a lot in common as far as our upbringing and with the foster care situation and stuff like that. And you guys are going to be enlightened.
I think she speaks a lot on institutions, about how institutions really program and transform you, and I think that's what I feel like she's drawn a lot of her where she assessed the problems occur because institutions really can't do anything for you. Mm-hmm. They're really just put in place for you to follow rules and do X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. She's been affiliated with a lot of institutions. I'm sure this won't be the last time we hear from her.
I hope it's not. I'm ready for her to come back again and again and again and again.
Yes, sir. We might have to make her a motherfucking integral part of the show, goddamn. But with that said, support, listen, watch, subscribe to the real.
And shout out to the convicted felons doing better than the people out there with no felonies.
With that said, let's do this.
Your voice.
Something to say. I'm SAF Moe, your prison lawyer, with my man
Ron B in the middle.
We are
the voice of the voice.
Yes, sir. And I told you we was gonna have this beautiful lady who's activist come talk to us. We finally got her to stop all her busy work to come talk to us and at least give us some time. The beautiful lady,
Noelle.
Noelle, yeah, y'all don't try to get after her. She all mine now. Noelle's gonna really break down to us. We already had a few women from Shakopee come talk to us about what's been going on, but I think Noelle might have a better understanding because not only after, and not during prison that she was active, but after prison, she's still active. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself,
She
Noelle?
want to enlighten us on the real.
The real.
Oh, yeah, sure. So right now I'm working as a reentry legal clinic at the law school in St. Paul. Well, right down the street.
Okay.
Mitchell Hamlin. I got hired there as a legal fellow. I got a year fellowship, so I get to talk to the people who are still incarcerated right now. Okay. Yeah, so I work for the law clinic there helping people who are coming back into prison or from prison coming back into society and they need help with different legal things. So I went through the process of trying to get my driver's license back and child custody and divorce and civil suits and all kinds of stuff like that. We also work with people who get pardons and expungements, and so.
Are you working to help them get pardons?
Yes, I work as an assistant to the staff attorneys there. So pretty much I'm doing the same thing that they are in the paperwork and talking to people.
As far as driver's license is concerned, they don't have transitions in Shakopee? Like I know when we get out, we go to transitions and whatever we're sort of lacking, it's like a 6-week or 12-week deal where we can.
It's a pre-release.
Yeah, pre-release.
Yeah, no, they have that, but when I got close to getting out, when I was trying to get my driver's license back, they told me I had to wait to take the test.
Why? Because of COVID?
It. No, they weren't offering it. COVID hadn't hit when I got out. I was out in 19.
They didn't give you a reason for not being?
They just took it away.
Ah.
Took away the program. So, and you know, knew what I had to do. I knew what I had to pay. So it's just
No
like,
reason, no nothing.
I don't know. I mean, they don't tell us. They just tell us that something where either funding was cut or something. You don't know.
And so
they're not gonna tell us.
Yeah, but that's kind of messed up. You know, you spend 5 years and then your driver's license lacks. And the only thing you really need is the paperwork to get it renewed or whatever. You know, just access to the DMV, they're not allowing that to happen for you. It's just really, it's messed up because now you got to take the bus when you get out. Even if you got a vehicle at the house, you can't get caught behind the wheel not driving. That's just one thing. I dealt with that too. The reason I'm kind of upset about that because I dealt with it coming out, and my driver's license had just lapsed like maybe a month or so prior to getting out. But I was in Oak Park Heights. Oak Park Heights does not have transitions because most of the guys going to Oak Park Heights are not getting out. So it was just the facility I was in wasn't available to me. It was crazy.
Yeah, most people there have a life sentence.
Yeah, beyond life. So we were just talking about, you said that the prosecutor has some type of program where you can come in and talk to them. Now that's news to me. I've never heard of that before. Can you explain that?
So I'm gonna try not to misquote things, but it's right now Ramsey County they may still be doing it, but last year it's called Prosecutor Impact.
Okay.
Adam Foss started it. He was a former, well, he's a lawyer still, but out of Baltimore, I believe, and he's kind of an activist now too. And
here in Minnesota?
No.
So he's nation.
Not just in Minnesota.
Okay.
So it's definitely out of state. But I did a little bit of research on it before I decided to be on the panel, but there was a few of us that were on the panel where there was like 40 Ramsey County prosecutors, and we had to sit down and talk to them about our lives and how it impacted us, how being in
your criminal conviction impacted you.
Yeah, and if we could say anything to them, what would it be?
Okay, now was that a one-time thing?
It was a one-time thing. I got paid to do that.
So the one-time thing, how did they select the individuals? And was it just females?
No, there was a few men, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, and then 2 of us females, and it was recommendations, referrals, word of mouth. Okay. So, and they did like 8 sessions, but we were only a part of like the last session, I think, or the second to last session.
So,
I think it was this class for them.
A class for the prosecutors. Okay. Something that people don't know about, that I didn't know about, that I guess they're trying to sensitize these individuals to sentencing us. I mean, are they not sensitive to? I'm just kind of like weird. Like, are they?
No, they're not. No. After working with lawyers for the past year, what I've figured out and working in the college, I've noticed that they don't teach anything except for basic book, like the word of law. Like they're taught to memorize laws. Yeah. They're taught to memorize like how things are supposed to be written, language and things like that. They don't get taught compassion. They're not taught how to look at a story first. They have no idea. The only thing that they're worried about is, and it's absolutely right, is to protect in the community. They're serving a community, but I think that they forget that we are the community.
Some point, we're coming back to the community also.
And that's been the part that I've learned with lawyers, and they just don't know. They just don't get it.
But that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because they have families.
Yeah.
You have families. You can't tell me that they bring these people out of some type of sealed environment, that they don't have any understanding of what they're doing to individuals.
You'd be surprised at how many people are really untouched by the things that we've been touched by.
Like explain.
Like trauma and like living on the street or whatever the case is. Some people just haven't experienced it, so they don't know. They don't know that things could be that bad. I've heard it over and over and over again. I have to tell my story. I tell my story wherever I go, and there's always multiple. It's people just either not understanding because they've never been through it, or
they're numb to it, so to speak.
It's like, so I feel bad for it.
Yeah, I would say that I would just say that I don't understand fully that disconnect that they have. But I don't understand it, because I don't know, because I grew up experiencing a lot of different things and had to be sensitive to other people. I know a lot of times in my past I have been desensitized and not caring, but when you give a person 6 life sentences, or you don't represent the person correctly and you send them off to a place that you wouldn't want to be in. I mean, me knowing that I don't want to touch a hot stove should just make something me not wanting you to touch a hot stove. So it should just, it be common knowledge that what you're doing, I can only justify it being that you feel as though these people deserve to go where they're going. They
do, because they have a twisted sense of justice. They do think that that's what we deserve.
Okay.
What people deserve. They twisted sense. And think about it. This is historical. It's not just like this generation of people. We're going based off of laws that were written by people who were slaves. So they're the ones that wrote these laws. Yeah. So, and we all follow them. Like that, our characteristic, everything we do, like we follow this shit. So they got to get out of that.
Right.
But what's something different? And nobody has a model for
it. It's that they do. Models exist. They just don't correlate to a capitalist system, right? They exist. They work. I mean, look at a lot of these Eurocentric countries that don't sentence people. They have a mandatory minimum. Even if you commit murder, you can only be sentenced to 25 years. Right. Or they put people in places that don't look like prisons. They look more like houses. You know what I'm saying? Or you can still move through your daily lives and be an integral part of your family, but you're not disconnected to your family, like you put on a slave ship and take it to another country and just disconnect it. That's how slavery was, and that's how prison is. You're disconnected from your family. You're put in a cell and you're transported off to some faraway land to work for these individuals. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the panel. How did you feel as though the panel went? Honestly.
Well, I felt it went well. I was nervous. There was a lot of people there, but we split down into smaller groups, and I mean, I saw the influence that I had on a few of the lawyers, so I was okay with that.
Would you do it again? for without pay if you were offered to do it again? Just knowing that the impact, would you feel like you would do?
This is never about the money.
No. I just mean like I think prior to it, it might have it motivated you because everybody would be motivated, but then
definitely.
after understanding what your impact was.
But see, the leaders of leader of racism is the media. They the ones gonna keep putting the bullshit out there. You know, to keep stirring it up, to keep you on your toes. You know what I'm saying? Keep every race on their toes. You know?
Oh man, they want us to fight.
That's what I'm saying.
They want us to fight.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
It's all by design.
They keep you on the edge.
This Willie Lynch in different forms. You bring the Asian over here because he'll work all motherfucking day for $2. You bring the Somalian over here because you think he a better black man. Because niggas ain't going. You named us nigga. Now the nigga that came home with the roof. You can't keep us from being our own black men no more. I'm a king. I'm not a black man.
They're trying to soften us up.
You
You see what I'm saying? Y'all trying to soften us up, but how you gonna soften us up when it's still racism?
It's economically.
I feel like, they don't want the black man to team up with the Asians or the Mexicans, so they want to keep us in confrontation. Keep us in confrontation.
Because the black man
So
don't know how to be a black man. They don't know how to be tribal. They beat the tribe out of us when they brought us over here. So we don't know how to be tribal with each other. I don't disrespect no black man because I found out in my own bloodline he raised and mixed slaves. My great-great-grandfather, he made slaves from South Dakota, here South Dakota, Coldwater, Mississippi. He was a riverboat captain. That nigga made slaves, bro. I'm not mad at him because look at me. I'm sexy as hell on the phone. I ain't mad at him. Now what I'm mad at is that the Willie Lynch, the light skin, the dark skin, that's still more effective. We don't like our light skinned brothers. For what?
Right.
And then whole mixed kids that's more white and black.
But
They don't know we love them.
that always goes back to slavery because, with the Willie Lynch, that was by design. You turn a dark-skinned brother and a light-skinned brother against each other. And now as time progresses and time's different, they just find different ways to keep that same base of
the same dynamic
and just capitalize on it and change it. As time changes, we're going to change it.
The Somali got curly hair. So he a better nigga. See, but the good color hair almost dark. He was that dude that with the
we want the one that got like a different shades. We got a bunch of different shades. You got very light-skinned blacks, you got very dark-skinned blacks. Somalian, all theirs like around the same shade of color.
Somali women fine as hell. They call them like fuck.
I think all women from all races fine. So shit. I love all women. I love all women. Women do
But
it.
we all human beings, man.
Yeah.
And once we,
At the end of the day.
if we get together with the African and the African get together with us, the Somali get together with us, we'll take this country over. We'll take it over. A Mexican ain't nothing but a black man. He just live like it. But people fight over the color. A Dominican Republic, you call them Mexican.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But we all say, what they don't realize, we came from Africa. Every race that's here right now came from Africa. I can't help because the white folks when they came and their mother changed on them. I can't help because they don't understand that you did that to yourself. You came down and took the fire and just started making on
In the Caucasus Mountains.
Call it Christianity.
You ain't got none of them
You went in them mountains.
pay
You
app.
didn't come out. Now we supposed to walk like that.
We're back. This is I Got Something to Say. SAF Moe, your prison lawyer, with my man.
Ron B in the middle.
We still got Noelle with us, and she's just bringing us up to speed, telling us a lot of stuff that we didn't know. I mean, I'm not into the policies and what's going on as far as reforming the criminal justice system. And we were just talking about Noelle participating as an impact panelist, I could say that, with Ramsey County, and just talking about the effect that she felt it had. I know how I feel like it had. I feel like these guys are insensitive to everything, but I mean, I'm gonna let her tell it. You said that you did mention you told your story. Do you feel comfortable telling us what you told these individuals to maybe change the way they think about prosecuting individuals?
Yeah, I can tell you. I'll tell you the story that I told them exactly. There was, so they wanted to hear individual stories. They split us up into groups, and so we would each have a good amount of time to talk. And one of the questions was something like, at what point in your life, what was one point in your life where something happened that changed your life?
Okay.
For the better or worse, you could talk about either or. And the first thing that came into my mind was when I was 12 years old. And it was so I was.
I'm sorry. Prison phone call. Somebody calling from the joint.
Oh no.
He's mad.
I'm bad now. You're bringing my line. Come on, let's go. Have a conversation.
Oh, man.
It's a whole nother subject.
But you were saying that you were 12, but now you're in Detroit at the time.
So I was born actually in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I was born in prison. And
What?
I was born in prison, and then I was adopted when I was 5.
Now, was this
my mother was in prison. My biological mother was in prison.
Was she doing life?
No.
Or she just opted out.
She was in prison.
She just opted out to have that you taken?
We just was talking.
Because we just was talking about that. It's news to me.
You can't have a baby in prison.
Right, but you
keep
can give them to family members, correct?
You have them, yeah.
Okay, and then they give you option of foster care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hold on, before you go any further, answer me this one question. Like, was your mom like an addict?
Mm-hmm.
Your biological mom, was she an addict or something like that? Like,
that's what I was told. Yeah, I know she was addicted to drugs. I'm not sure exactly which ones or what she had going on, but yeah.
Okay. So it's safe to say.
So that explains it.
But it's safe to say you haven't spoken to her at all. Have not went back.
Well, no, I got a chance to go back. I was a baby though. I don't remember.
Okay.
And I ended up having to go back into the system. So I mean, like the story itself, you won't be able to put it all together right away because it's like I had a lot happen to me in the first 18 years of my life, but that's just one part. So there's twists and twists and twists. Guarantee you, you'll hear more. Like so, hear it out. Then, when I was adopted at 5, I was adopted into a family because I was in foster care, three different foster care homes. And I was adopted by the last one, and the family they adopted me into was super abusive. I was the baby, and I was the only adopted child, and my adoptive grandmother was abusive to my adoptive mother, who did not know how to be a good mother to us.
Okay.
So my mother used to work a lot. She worked for the state of Michigan for a long time, and I was the last one in the house. I was 9, and my sister was 18. My brother was 14. Like so, we were
really
super.
Yeah.
And so I was the last one, and she decided she was going to get married when I was 12, and I was cool with that. I mean, I didn't have neither here nor there. She really hadn't like picked up the. I mean, we got our butts whooped, but it wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah, of course.
And but my grandmother was really bad to me.
Were you just?
She was abusive.
Mentally?
Nah, she was physically.
Okay.
And like mentally as well. Like she would make me stay in the basement. I couldn't play with the other kids.
This your adopted
My
grandma.
adopted grandmother, yeah, she was
Why
a
do
really
you
nice person.
do you have any reasons why you thought that
It's just she grew up in the backwoods of North Carolina,
that's pretty?
and she was
The South.
in the South, and she's just this this white kid who didn't know any better. I mean, she had kids, mixed kids, obviously, but
It makes sense to her.
she just was angry and mean sometimes, and she had mental health issues for sure. She lied about a lot of stuff. She's super old, but she died in 17, and yeah, but she was super mean to me. Like, she would, when I came over, she would say I was dirty and make me get in the bathtub right away. And you know, when you take baths, you got your little soap ring around the edge. She would tell me that I was just disgusting. Like, and she would play off of that. Or I was 7 years old, walking around with my little belly poked out, and she asked me if I was pregnant. You know, or what are you doing? You know, it's just really highly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like, I hate you. I told your mother not to adopt you. I told her not to take you in, and she did it anyways. And now she's gonna, you know, so all those noises and all those things as a kid, as a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old, you're hearing that shit. And all I wanted my mother to do was to save me from that. And I kept telling her, like, she's hurting my feelings, like, she's hurting me. Like, she took my hair and held it under the water and to wash my hair sometimes, like the scalding hot freaking water, because she said I was dirty. Like, she was teaching me how to clean myself. My mother was not a dirty person. My mother was raised by her. Like, we weren't dirty. She was just really, really terrible. She treated me like a dog. I was 12. Like, between 6 and 12, those are the formative ages in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's when you develop a sense of self-esteem and a sense of self as well. And I was already struggling with understanding what a family meant, what the concept of a family meant.
True.
And because my mother was in prison, like, my biological brother was 15 years older than me. I never talked to him. Like, my adopted mother, she got a divorce. My brother and sister, they really didn't like me. We don't talk. They still don't like me.
You understand?
You know, it's like, so then I have a random father who has like 10 kids somewhere, and he just signed his rights away right away. I mean, it
makes you feel a certain type of way.
Like, so at those, and this is from a child's perspective, I didn't know all of those things, but I knew that I was unwanted.
Right.
That's what was in my mind, is that somebody didn't want me, and my grandmother was running that home, like, and my mother gets married, and I have to go to my grandmother's house for the week while she goes on her honeymoon. It was 2 weeks, and I did not want to go. And I just knew it was going to be terrible.
Because she was unsupportive.
She was a terrible person, and I don't remember all of the specific things that she did to me, you know, like the violence and stuff, but I do remember the hateful words. I remember a lot of it. And that period right there, that was like the hill. That was it, because it was over after that. I didn't let anybody do anything to me like that anymore. And what after those 2 weeks, I remember sitting on the floor. My mom came back from a trip, and I'm putting my shoes on, tying my shoelaces. I'm looking up at her and her husband, and her new husband, and my grandmother is telling them, and she's been telling them the whole time that I was like all the terror, like that I had been acting out the whole time. And then I don't know where she got this idea that I was acting out because I wanted to come in between the husband and her. But I don't even know if she remembers saying this to me, but she said, "You will never come in between me and my husband." Now, I'm going to flash back right from that moment, right? I'm going to go back 2 years or so, and I was sitting on the couch on the floor, and she was on the chair, and we were watching this movie. It was called Bastard Out of Carolina.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 10? Maybe 10, maybe 9. We spent a lot of time together around that time because my brother and sister had left. And she was on the phone, and she was watching this movie, and I don't know if you know this movie, but it's a terrible movie. It's about a little girl who got abused by her stepfather. And in the movie, I remember her talking to whoever she was talking to, and she was like, "I would never do that to my children. I would never let a man come in between me and my kids. I would never." And what's crazy is the things that children soak in. So I've never had these conversations with her, but she'll read my book. and she'll see that because. And going back to that moment where I was sitting on the floor tying my shoes, and I remember looking up at her and hearing that, and then looking up at her and him standing over me and going, "Oh shit," you know. My world got so small. I like tunnel vision. Everything got smaller, and like there was nothing. As a 12-year-old, can you imagine feeling like there was nothing and no one in the world that would protect you or save you from anything?
I'm there.
A 12-year-old little girl who has already been physically, emotionally, sexually abused, you know, and there's all of these things happening to this little girl who had just lost her innocence completely. And I remember thinking, I just got to protect myself. And I went completely inside of myself. And in those days, from the time I was 12 all the way up until I hit Shakopee prison, well, actually after that, when I was in segregation, like all that time in between there, I had been sitting with those things thinking, you know, I just have to protect myself. Nobody else is going to do it. So I did it the best way I knew how. Yeah. And that's like,
what was that?
In between those years, in between 12 and what am I now, 34. So I was 30. So let's say 15, 20 years. Like it's taken
to be on
me
defense.
To be, you know, protecting yourself. Back then, before the accident, it was 15 years, you know. So you can imagine those kind of things that a baby has to deal with, and then you want that baby to turn into an adult right away, and to serve your country, or to be an adult and pay these bills and take care of yourself and have good mental health without a community of people who will support you. You had to do all this on your own. You do the best you can,
right?
You know, and that's what I did. And I told them that story because who can't not relate to a little 12-year-old kid who just wants to be loved? Right. That's all we all wanted. Like when we were kids, we didn't come out of the womb thinking like, I got this shit. No, we came out wanting and expecting safety and needing safety, and none of us got it. So that's what I talked to them about. And the reason why that is so effective is because it's not statistics. It's not data. It's not history. It's my personal story that everyone else I know can relate to if they just sit and think about it and listen to it. That's why I write my story. That's why I tell my story. I'm less caught up in like data and statistics, even though I know it, but they needed to hear that.
True.
They needed to hear that.
True. Are you still in communication? You got to be in communication with your stepmom. Mom.
Yeah, my adopted mother.
Foster. No, she adopted you, so she's your mom.
Yeah. I like to tell the difference because I talk about both of them frequently. So.
Yeah, and I was just so you're in communications with her, and you guys talk, and
we're trying to heal.
Oh, you're trying.
Well, I am trying to heal from it, and hopefully she can come along beside me.
So at that point, at 12 years old, when your mom made the statement to you, it sent your world spiraling because now you have to defend for yourself. The person that all the people you thought that had your back or you could rely on, or you didn't really need their back. You just wanted, that they had, like a child expects certain things. You expect to be able to come home, watch cartoons, do your homework, not worry about fending for yourself.
And instead, I had to worry about what days my mother was going to be in a good mood and what days she was going to be in a bad mood. And you know what? I don't care. And this is my own opinion, but this is also proven. We have grown as a society in mental health awareness. It is not okay to put your hands on a child. Never. And I don't care if your mama beat the crap out of you when you were a baby. Like that leather belt with that spike on it is not okay. Like we're kids.
It's never been okay.
Those kind of things were what was happening, but that was normal, right? So, I mean, those were the kind of things that weren't happening. That was normal abuse. The shit that my mother did was past that shit. Yeah. Extension cords and knives and fucking like anything she could put her hands on to put her hands on you. Mm-hmm. Like that was the kind of shit we dealt with. And I don't ever think that it's going to be okay in the future to do that to anyone. Even there's a different way.
Well, the thing about it is that with this mom who had a stable home that adopted you, and you said she was just raised that way. She wasn't on any drugs or alcohol. This is the way she was taught to discipline her children. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's generational.
Yeah, we're passed from mom from So what brought you up to Minnesota? From Detroit or Michigan.
Well, so I've lived a lot of places. From the day I turned 18, I moved down to Georgia, and I graduated from high school there, and then I joined the Navy. Once I got into the military, I was in Virginia for 4 years and went down to Florida. I've lived in Alabama, Georgia, and New York, and then in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Now, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan was where I was just before I came here.
Now, where was your rate in the Navy, and did you?
I drove ships. I was a bosun mate.
Okay, bosun mate. Yeah. All right. What did you? How long were you in the Navy? Did you do
4
your
years.
for
3 years, 9 months. I did not get an honorable discharge.
What state did you like living in New York?
Oh, I lived
What city?
What city? First Brooklyn, like Bed-Stuy.
How old were you?
25.
25. What are you doing now? What's your profession?
So me and my son were by ourselves for a few years. Jordan, my ex-husband, went to prison for 10 years in Virginia for robbery. They sent him away for $500.
What?
Him and 3 got.
How much time did he get?
10 years.
Did he have a previous?
No.
Hold on.
No.
I'm trying to put this together.
Yeah, I told you. The more you hear, the more you're.
It makes no sense. He gets 10 years.
Yeah, my whole family, my life has been caught up in institutions. My son was in behavior modification center while my ex-husband was sitting in a prison while I was sitting in prison. Like, it's just how it is.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just kind of normal talking about it now. You know, like that's how it is.
Yeah, but it's
crazy, right?
Yeah,
it's Virginia.
It's
Virginia.
Is it a Commonwealth?
Yes. They can do whatever the heck they want.
And I figured that was the deal because they were a Commonwealth thing. Because it seems like strange for $500 they give you 10 years.
It was armed, but even here they don't.
No, I'm just trying
That's crazy,
I'm trying to justify it in my mind, like what would make you give a person 10 years?
They charged. I can't talk about it. Yeah. The charges were ridiculous. Like when I asked them about it, like people, it just made absolutely no sense. He shouldn't have been gone, but they took him. And after that, I mean, we were already struggling and separated because the military does that to you, you know. So it wasn't about that. So you
met him in the Navy.
Yeah, and it wasn't about that. It was more about like protecting our son at this point, and it just didn't work out, you know. Mm-hmm. So. Was it drug related? Nope. Was just money. Money. Yeah. This to me is he. So he's out now. Is he doing better? Yeah. Great. That's 10 years later.
Yeah. Well,
we both got out the same year. Actually, I just saw him for the first time in 10 years. I got to hug him.
I saw that picture.
So the dad has custody of the son.
Now he does. Yes.
I saw the picture. I saw that on Facebook. Or Instagram, wherever.
One of them.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, wow, yeah, it's all good.
Big things. But yeah, and so when I had him by myself though, I was moving around and Jordan got arrested and I went down to Alabama, picked my son up and thought that I could take care of him, but I couldn't. And as thing after thing started happening and I started bouncing from place to place with my son, I realized like my mental health was going. And I was like losing my shit. I couldn't take care of myself.
Remember what your thought process is. It the fact that are you regressing to the behavior that your mom showed you?
No, okay. It was severe mental health. Like when I say mental health issues, I mean losing track of time. I mean not being able to concentrate long enough to like correct problems or find solutions to things. And when you're living on the street, or when you're living in a shelter, or you're living in, you know, transitional housing with a kid, and you have to think fast. You have to think feet. And I was losing it, literally. And my body was physically shutting down too. Like I was having so many health problems. I could barely walk at one point. My kid had shoes on that had holes in them. So I called my mother-in-law and I said, hey, can you please take my son? And I don't know what's going to happen, but this is what I have going on. I started to stay down there with her for a little bit, but she ended up telling me that I had to leave. She said I couldn't stay, but Anthony could, which was cool, legit. Okay, because she my whole nother crazy mother issue. But I mean, you know, she did what she had to do. But my idea was to go make a few grand, like make enough money to get an apartment, get a down payment, pay up my rent, 6 months or so. That way I can get a car, and then I'll be good. Yeah, you know, I can go back. I mean, I can do that in Alabama, because it's hard to get a job when you don't have a car in Alabama, because it's all road. Yeah, it's all countryside and it's all road. There are some cities, but it's different. It's not like living. I noticed that when I came from Chicago. So different. Yeah, and it's like. And so I went through that process while I was down there. I tried to be successful. I got a job, but I was living with a friend who would have to take me to work, friends of Jordan's who would have to take me to work. And it was 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. It was, you know, it wasn't, I had Anthony or I didn't have Anthony. You know, I'm living on someone's couch, and this is going on for a month here. And they get tired of that stuff. Yeah, and I also get tired of it too. Well, yeah. And then people take advantage of you too. And because I was single, because I was living in this environment where anything could happen, it did. You know? And so I just said, fuck it. I left Anthony and I said, I'm coming back. And I went to New York. I had this guy pay for a ticket up there, found him on Backpage, and went up there and started working. So I was an escort for maybe 4 or 5 months up in New York. And I thought that it was going to be okay. I thought I was going to be able to make it. I thought I was going to have that money, and I did, and I got robbed. Oh. And I think I got set up actually because I was working for a company after, because the guy he was stupid. But I ended up having to leave because I saw what kind of position I was going to be in if I stayed. What was the position? And he was a pimp, and I didn't have the patience for that. I had knives, and so I left. And straight up, like, I left. Got in the phone book and called the first escort company I could find, and that shit was legit. They sent the driver to pick me up. I went and I made my money, I did my thing, but then I got robbed, and also then I started doing coke because I needed to stay awake. And then I didn't like what I was doing. I felt like disgusting, so I started doing Molly because Molly made me feel better. You know, and then I started drinking because I always drank. I was in the Navy. I was drinking all the time. You know, why not? Drinking, I was past all that other stuff. Like, I didn't touch pills. I didn't touch none of the other shit. But that was enough. And shit just went from bad to worse.
Being an escort, what is that just, you thought about fast money?
Yeah, it was the money. Yeah. Okay, it was just straight up that, and yeah.
It was so in your mind. You were thinking, I'm going to go to New York, I'm going to make all this money, I'm going to come back.
And everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, everything's going to be back. The money's going to change.
Because I'm not going to ask anybody for help. I'm going to do this on my own. Right. You know, and a friend of mine is actually the person that introduced it to me, like taught me how she did it down in Florida. And I did it a couple times with her in Florida. And, like, so you have this mindset that this person who you trust is teaching you how to protect yourself and how to
same situation you were in prior.
Yes. And it just all kinds of unhealthy and bad.
But the friends that you're now, this friend that you said that introduced you to the business, the female, I'm assuming, is it somebody you met in Alabama or somebody you met through the Navy, or how did
this was through the Navy. This was like,
so she got a Navy and started escorting.
Well, she wasn't in it. It was just a wife.
It was a wife of somebody. Okay, because I'm just curious about just how do you come, because it's not
something that you just walk
think of.
Well, yeah, and actually you're right, it isn't. And she was the one that introduced me to it.
She solicited you.
She knew that I needed money,
and she just knew you were vulnerable.
I don't know, probably, yeah.
You were in a position where I can say
we ended up, yeah. some really bad shit happened with
What?
her too. I had just too many things to talk about, but she ended up. I gave her a lot of money, and
What's a lot? What, $2,000, $3,000?
I mean, I didn't count. We were making
You get money.
like
Which now I'm assuming that she's pimping you.
no.
Okay.
We were both together.
Okay.
She had her husband, I had mine. We were separate. Me and my husband were separated at that point. But she was working, and her husband knew about that shit. So
He was cool.
but yeah, so that's just how it happened. But it wasn't like that. It was more of her just being a bad friend, if you can call it that. She lied. She wasn't. It was nothing insidious. It wasn't like being in life. I don't think she ever truly knew.
Did she lie about the business, or did she lie to you?
About her personal shit and what was really going on. So it didn't have anything to do with business.
Okay.
So she was just a really bad friend.
Okay.
Shit.
Let's just take a break for a minute and come right back. Okay. I like what you're talking about. We'll be right back. We're gonna get when we get to Minnesota when she gets. Moe, your prison lawyer, with my man.
Moe, your prison
Be in
lawyer.
the middle.
And we are.
Be in the middle.
We are.
The voice of the voices.
We always been above. We the only platform that allows individuals like my girl to come on here and tell her story. She's about to blow up, y'all. So we're fortunate enough to have her. Prior to a book deal, prior to all the stuff she's going to be a big individual. She's already a voice, but we're going to try to make sure that everybody hears what she has to say, because she really has something to say. For I got something.
We want to broaden her horizon.
Exactly. So she came here to broaden her horizon. Go ahead.
Take us to the prison born thing.
Well, I don't think that's like there's projects where I don't know how to put it into words now. So there is something called the Healthy Start Act, and I think that's just the general name that people have been giving it.
Is that now we're talking about Shakopee, or
we're talking about Minnesota, and this has just been passed over within the past year, actually in the past few months, where women are no longer having to give birth in prison.
What, so
okay. When a woman goes to prison, if she's pregnant, she still gives birth in prison, and then the child has to go to a home, and they don't let you keep the baby. You go straight from prison to the hospital. You go shackled. You they have handcuffs on them. They're handcuffed to the bed.
Oh my God.
And well, this is how it was, but they're in the process of moving all of the women who are pregnant, and I think up to, I don't know if they're going to retroactive do it, but they're definitely moving all of the women to another space. So they're planning that now. So when they have the baby,
they're able to stay with them for a year, up to a year, and so they can bond with the child.
Yeah, very important.
Yes.
They had a similar program like that when I was in the feds. I was in the halfway house in Tallahassee. It was an 18-month program. But after the 18 months, no matter how much time you got left or you don't have left, your family has to come get the baby, or somebody has to come get the baby, and you go to prison and serve your time or whatever.
That's what Tina was talking about, but she said that it's almost manipulative the way they do it now through Shakopee, is where they when they do give a family the child, then the family basically comes in, either stops bringing the child, and then, hey, we're a better family. You got this much time. We're going to adopt a family. They need a home.
We want to take that baby.
And you're vulnerable at the time. You're probably feeling like, oh, I messed up my life. Maybe the child does deserve to be with this family because I'm a fuck up. And, it's just stealing children away from mothers. But you mentioned about foster care and being in a foster home yourself, Ron.
Yeah, when she was telling me, when Noelle was telling me about it, it triggered my thoughts of when I was in foster care in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. When I was about 11 years old, my mom got busted. My biological mom got busted for cocaine and marijuana. And when she got busted, my mom's boyfriend had another girlfriend. This type of thing went on. And women accepted men having several girlfriends and stuff like that. And my mom's boyfriend had another girlfriend. It was a white lady named, I ain't gonna name her. But she came and got us at the time. My mom and her boyfriend got busted, went to jail, and my mom's boyfriend, other girlfriend, came and got us and took us to her house. The kids in my neighborhood seen her. She was a white lady. My mom's black. This lady, the other girlfriend, is white. And when the white lady came and got us, everybody in the neighborhood seen our house get raided and stuff like that. And people laughed at us when the white lady came and got us and said, y'all going into foster care, y'all going into foster care. And it made me feel so bad because I wasn't going into foster care at that time. But it was a white lady coming to get us. She came and got us. And then somehow, some kind of way, my mom contacted her mom down in Florida. And we ended up going down to Florida to stay with my grandmother while my mom was in prison up here. Well, when my mom got out of prison, I was in a juvenile facility down there because I stole a car. That's another story I'll tell you about another time. But I stole a car at the age of about 12 years old. And while I was in the juvenile facility, my mom got out of prison. My brother came back to Wisconsin to live with my mom while I was down there in the juvenile facility. I got out shortly after my mom got out of prison and my brother came back up here. And when I was on my way back up here, my mom violated her probation, her conditions of release. And I didn't know it, but I'm on a bus, on a Greyhound bus on the way here. So this happened, it takes about 3 days for you to get up here on the
transit.
Yeah, it takes you about 3 days to get on the Greyhound bus and come up here from Florida.
Yeah.
So I get to the bus station in Milwaukee, and it's a guy with a sign with my name on it. A white guy standing there with a sign with my name on it. And I'm like, who is this guy? Why has he got my name? I could read, I could write, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I walk up to him, about 12 years old, and I say, what's up? What's going on? Why you got my name on the sign? He said, well, your mom violated probation. She violated her conditions of release, and we're trying to locate your brother. We think he's in a house, but he's trained to not answer the door for people. My brother's younger than me, like 2 years younger than me. So he said, we're here to take you into custody, take you to a group home, and we want to get your brother to and make sure he's safe as well. We need you to come to the house with us. Maybe he'll open the door for us when you get there. And sure as shit stink, When we got to the house, we knocked on the door. My brother peeked through the curtain and he answered the door because I was there. I was a familiar face.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we both went into a group home. We went to separate group homes and we went to separate foster homes at that point.
It did.
And that's what she triggered in me when she told me about the born into prison thing.
Well, did your mom? Did she go back to something?
My mom
Like,
eventually.
how did she reoffend? I mean, or violate her parole?
She violated her conditional release for continuing to sell drugs when she got busted again. Yeah, she got busted again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, what brought you, Noelle? What was your criminal conviction?
Criminal vehicular homicide, and then 3 counts of just criminal vehicular operator.
So, were you drinking at the time?
No, actually, it was probably one of the times where I was super sober. I was just tired. I fell asleep.
So that got you?
Mm-hmm. Because they tested my blood, and they let me go because I was intoxicated. After I got out of the hospital, anyways, they let me go. And they tested my blood, and they saw that I had done like a line of coke or something. Like, I remember that I had done a line of coke. That's not what the test said, but it came up negative for coke, but positive for like one of the 2 metabolites that your body makes to rid itself.
Yeah, of coke.
Yeah, it came up positive.
By practice. So they rearrested you?
So they arrested me because I wasn't originally, because I didn't. It would have, at worst case, had I been a different person, or the circumstances been different, it would have been careless driving, reckless and careless driving.
Right.
So you saying had your skin been lighter?
Even lighter.
Even later.
I feel you.
They wanted to make an example out of me. And you know what? They would never come out and say anything like that. But they did make sure to say in court that she's not even from this town, and she just came running through here,
right,
and she just destroyed a whole community. We need to make an example out of her. And then the judge compared me to a person who was going to prison for 12 years per count of whatever he was doing to the kids that he was doing it to. You know what? I no judgment there, but at the same time, do I deserve a 72-year sentence?
What county was this in?
For
What county was this
in? Meeker County. Litchfield.
Oh, that's from White County.
Litchfield, Minnesota.
Litchfield, Minnesota.
Yeah, they're gonna get you. It's the South.
You
didn't believe me. I told you it was the South. They're not playing. So
go ahead, finish what you
said.
You were saying. So it like that was a crazy time in my life. Like, I really didn't understand that, but it happened, and here, I may not break this. You're fine. It happened, and I had to go to prison.
How much time did you do?
Actively 34 months there, and then the rest was on parole.
Did they hit you any restitution?
You know what? Everything that the state didn't have control over went very well.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't have any restitution.
Okay.
The family chose not to pursue it.
But if the state had any input into it, they would have went crazy.
The judge said, because some of the family was like, well, she should get 20 years.
For vernacular homicide. How the fuck is that
even possible? She should get 20 years, and she should be on probation for the rest of her life. Man, I remember those words. This is victim impact statements, so I'm supposed to be compassionate about that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But what she said was, well, I can't give her any more time, but I definitely won't give her any less. And so that was it. And then she went,
kick the gavel. Send her to the concentration camp. Send her to the plantation.
You know what? And I started doing the reason why I even came here was because I lost my job. I was working at this place in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan. Me trying to get started and on my feet again, not having a car, not having a place to stay, and it was working out. But I was hanging around people who didn't have any goals for their lives. Like, in these small towns, a lot of people just want to live. They don't have any significant goals. They don't need to go to college. No. They don't need to do anything more than work their 9 to 5 at the grocery store and get drunk every weekend.
It's working for them.
And you know what? That's cool. I was a part of that life, but I can hang. because that's never been my life. And like I tried to hang with them, but they were just wild. And I woke up one morning and couldn't go to work because I was
What
so
were you
hungover.
doing? What were you doing?
Just drunk.
No, I mean, what was the
Oh,
job?
it was telemarketing.
Okay, telemarketing.
Just I woke up still drunk, and I tried to call. He didn't answer, and I texted. He didn't answer, and they fired me for no call, no show. Yeah, a lot.
You got anything you want to give to anybody who might be going through the same thing you went through? Any words of wisdom? Got anything you want to give to anybody who might be going through the same thing you went through? Any words of wisdom?
No, the same thing that I tell everybody. Like it's been an honor to be able to tell these people who are getting out of prison, welcome home.
Yes.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
You know, and with that, you know, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to welcome everybody home. That's all I got. Because at the end of the day, man, it's still going to keep happening. There's always going to be a bigger problem. And that's hard to say and accept and relate to, but that's what I brought home. I know that there's always going to be problems. It's about how you're going through and dealing with it. Because you can walk around saying that like you can't do anything about it, or you can be solution oriented. Or you can just learn how to manage and weigh each problem. And that's all we have. Like, so I'm not going to tell anybody, hey, it's going to get better. No, I'm tired. We're tired. I know you're tired. I know you're tired. Mm-hmm. We're working hard to get to where we are. It doesn't get easier. I can't tell you that, but I can say that it's worth it.
Well, how did you, my deal is, I know how I felt when I went to prison, the hopelessness. You know, just, I mean, if you go into prison, not having anybody to start with, get into prison, you really don't have anybody to start with. Now you got a felony, and you're dealing with trying to get out. You're dealing, initially, everything looked great because you were doing everything to get your son back. And, you know, you were working toward that. But now you have to, it's basically, you were pushed down, now you pushed even further back. Mm-hmm. So in prison, what kept you sane, if anything? Knowing you're going to get your son back? Knowing that you're gonna eventually make this thing better, knowing that you can't go any further than where you're at. What was what kept you motivated? Because you're here now talking to us, and you're doing better.
Because I killed somebody.
That was going through your head.
That was the whole time.
That's the
thing.
That was the
Let me tell you,
wall.
mental health is, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, chronic PTSD, borderline personality disorder. And some days I don't understand the point of being here anymore. Like, I don't get it. Like, I've been through pretty much everything that anyone can go through. There's a couple things that I prefer not to go through, but, you know, at the same time, like, I've been through it all. I've seen it all. And at this point, the only thing that kept me going in prison, because it took me going to SEG.
What'd you go to SEG for?
For having a razor.
Were they fucking with you in prison?
No.
It's
not dangerous there.
Well, I mean, what you got a razor for?
Contraband, because I had it. I had it.
Just in case?
No.
Okay, I understand. You don't have to go. You don't have to elaborate.
No, I mean, you gotta slow down. That it's serious. It's not like a soft subject. It's hard. So, with borderline personality disorder, a lot of the symptoms come off as emotional dysregulation. So your inability to control, like when you get upset, how, not that when, but how
far it goes.
You know, how far or how little. And because of my automatic responses as a child where I reverted inward,
Yeah.
that became my safety. And so I developed a lot of unhealthy coping mechanisms, and a lot of them were very, very present while I was incarcerated and throughout the time that I was even escorting or that I was trafficking, whatever the case is. And dissociation was a number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like dissociate, I just not there, you know. And some people go outward and they explode and they hurt other people.
Yeah.
They yell, they want to fight, road rage.
Yeah.
Me, I went inward and I started cutting.
Hurting yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So in prison, I was 6 months into my 11 months. 11 months into my sentence, I had gotten to prison 6 months before, and I was lost. I was trying so hard to just to participate and get used to the idea that I was going to have to be in there for another 27 months.
Yeah.
And
hopelessness.
I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to be alive. Somebody died because of me. In my mind, I was thinking that I should have been that one.
I feel you.
Because I didn't want to be there.
I feel you.
Why wouldn't you take the one I actually didn't want to be? Because my life had been so hard up to that point. I didn't have a reason. I had given up hope that I was going to have my son. I didn't kill myself because I wasn't suicidal, because I'm like, fuck it, I don't want my kid to, I don't want him to think that this is about him, because it's not. I have severe mental health issues that I haven't dealt with because people did a lot of things to me, and I never learned how to express my feelings about those things. And I never told anyone about them. You held them in. Yeah, and so my kid, I didn't think I would be around him anyways. I never imagined in million years that I would be saying this, that I'm getting to go see him. But with that, I gave up. I gave up everything. I didn't care. Mm-hmm. My son was my anchor to this world, and when in 2015 everything just took off. I just lost everything. I gave up every bit of hope that I had. I was done. And there were some other things that happened in that where my shame just got the best of me. Mm-hmm. And it would be better if other people didn't have to deal with my shit. So in a sense, no, I wasn't suicidal anymore, but I started running. Yeah. And so when you get to prison, they tell you, you lose all of your control. I lost control over my mind, my body, my decisions.
Everything, self-determination.
And there was nothing that I could make a decision about myself. There was no way I could kill myself. There was if I really wanted to invest in that. Yes, but at that point, if I stepped out of line even once, they were taking me to SAG. I got strip search. Random strip searches to search for fucking scars on my body. Shit like that. They put me in SAG, not because I had the razor. It wasn't because I had the razor and I was going to hurt anybody. It was contraband. They said that I was smuggling a weapon, and I got 60 days, but they only made me do 30 of it. Mm-hmm. But the idea was, I had to lie my ass off to them about my scars. They knew that I told them I've always been honest about.
They ask you when you come in though about any suicide attempts.
Have you ever felt suicidal or
have
stuff
you
like
attempted
that?
any? They ask you that.
Yeah, they also ask you if you've ever been, if you've ever had a Priya. Nobody's gonna answer those questions.
You gotta explain to the people what Priya is though. Prison Rape Elimination Act.
Yeah,
they want to know if you have been touched inappropriately by any staff member.
Yeah, or anything.
Or anything. Yeah. But they don't do it like that. They'll say, have you ever inappropriate something at all, anytime? And everyone in there has been, especially in the women's prison.
Just explain that, because nobody is,
most of us have been victims of some kind of sexual harassment.
But is there further victimization going on inside the prison?
Yes.
By other females or staff?
No. It's not so much the females here. Minnesota does not have. Minnesota is nothing compared to Florida prison. I was in Florida prison, and it's completely different. Minnesota is like being on a college campus.
You said you was in Florida
I was not
prison?
worried about my safety in Minnesota. Yeah, I was in Florida DOC at Lowell.
I know.
Well,
My auntie was at Lowell.
Lowell,
My
where
auntie was at Lowell.
they have the death row.
My mom was there and my auntie was there.
And a freaking, it looks like a prison.
Mhm.
Shakopee prison. But that's why people go to SEG for stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, because they don't have anything else to do.
Right.
You know? They get a little bit of a drug scene, but they don't have like gang affiliation stuff. Like they don't have a lot of like people getting seriously hurt or injured and attacked. It's not like that, but in Florida it's a little bit different.
How was
Florida's
what did you
a lot
go?
different.
What did you go? What sent you to prison in Florida?
After New York.
New-
Yeah, this is why I don't get into bad stuff, because bad things happen right afterwards, and it just takes me all the way out of the picture. So I met these people in New York, and this was my last day in New York, and they were like, "Let's go to Miami," and I was like, "Yeah, it's a 24-hour ride."
Yeah, sounds good.
I got done with a client like I've been with all weekend, and he was like, "Hey, here's a bottle of pills. You've been up all weekend. Just take one. You'll be fine." You know, it was Xanax.
I got something to tell you.
Yeah.
I got something to say. I just got done doing 10 years in prison in Florida.
You did?
Yes.
So you know, that's where you spent your time. It's bad. And they give you a year per pill. Did you know that? They threatened me with that.
Yeah. What was it, Xanax?
Yes, they threatened me with that. So I had 10 Xanax on me when they finally arrested me. But I took a Xanax after being awake all weekend, and I blacked out and don't remember what happened. I got 2 counts of assault on a police officer, battery on a police officer. But I didn't do anything to them.
Yeah.
Like, I read the report, and one of them broke her nail on my back. I had this long scar across my back. They weren't trying to arrest me originally. They were trying to kick me out of the hotel. But apparently, like, it's a whole big story, and I don't want to talk about some of it because why I was outside of the car was really crazy. But I got caught up. I was high as a kite, and I never.
How many bars was it? Just a half a bar? Do you remember what you took the whole pill?
I'm pretty sure I did, and
Yeah,
I'm surprised they banned you like that in Miami though, because Miami.
Some Molly. No, I didn't make it. I made it to
you never made it?
Jacksonville. I made it to Duval.
That's why you got banned. You was in Jacksonville. You was in this part of Florida, right here.
Florida,
This is the whole state of Florida right here. Yeah, you was right here,
Florida, Georgia line.
right before you curved to go down.
The best part about the South, apparently, according to the country songs.
Shout out to my man Solo, because he know I always do this. See, this is Florida right here. This is Florida right here.
J-Ville, Duval County.
Yeah, and everybody,
Like,
if you
yes.
walk in Lowell, when I
What?
walked in, I didn't know.
Duval.
Oh my goodness, that was, and I was the last one in line, didn't know what was going on. Like, it was a terror. That was like,
They sent you to prison though.
They sent so they were gonna release me and give me probation. I was on my way from New York to Miami. I didn't know anything about Jacksonville, Florida. You're gonna put me on probation, homeless? So the public defender was like, well, we can get this state adjudication, whatever the hell that thing was that he was trying to convince me to do.
Yes,
and you could just stay in county. I'm like, hell no, send me to prison.
Okay.
Send me to prison, because then at least I'll get $50 bus or $50 in a bus ticket out of here, you know. And
How you gonna get to?
How long
How
was
you
the time
gonna
were
get?
they talking about? Like a year?
So yeah, it was a year and a day, but I stayed in county for 2 months. So
For y'all don't know,
months.
for y'all that don't know, they put the day on there so they make sure you go to prison. If they give you a year, you don't have to go to prison. You
But
can
she
sit in the
wanted to
county.
go to the joint.
I'm like,
Yeah,
give
she
me
wanted
the
to go
year
to
and a
the
day.
They put the day on there though, so you can go to county. So you can go to
But
prison.
you gotta remember too, like, so that was dumb. I shouldn't have did it. But at the same time, it worked out because I needed that time to sit down and
Get your
get
shit
my.
back. Yeah.
I was losing my shit.
Yeah,
Literally,
for
this was
sure.
right after
Drinking.
like I dropped Anthony
Yeah.
off, so I was headed down the wrong, and I still did. I crashed and burned while I was there,
Yeah.
but I needed that space to crash and burn.
Right.
But Lord, is nothing to play with. None of that stuff was nothing to play with. But I was nutty. I was hogtied when I went in.
You triggered.
Hog-tied going to prison or hog-tied to
Going
going to...
into Duval. So everyone knew me.
You trigger a lot of stuff in me when you tell your story because I can relate to you a lot. Because
she's telling the truth,
no, but
Yes,
when she say she needed that space, it tells me a lot about myself. It triggers something in me. Cause like when I got them 10 years, they offered me 18 months. 2 years paper. 18 months, 2 years paper. 18 months, 2 years paper. 18 months, no paper. I refused it all. I refused it.
I just think
and went to trial and lost.
I personally think like even the SEG, when she's talking about going to SEG, when anytime you sit down, you have to deal with your motherfucking self. You gonna have to recognize
your thoughts.
You gonna fuck your mind fucking you up.
Yeah.
Like damn, I need to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
I need to do something better.
Yeah.
You ever feel that? So I have this tattoo on my back. It's fucking awesome, and I can't show you right this second. It's huge though, but it's not finished. She's just in pain, screaming silently, right? And that's kind of how I felt. And this is why I group all of institutions together, because institutions are the things that put you under control of something bigger than you.
Of course.
And that goes with high
said.
school. That goes with education.
Everything.
That
You
goes
don't have
with
to-
marriage.
everything.
That goes with
Everything.
Your job, everything is an institution. Your job.
In those moments in segregation, when you're already in an institution and then you're within an institution that is segregation to keep you safe or keep other people safe. You're staying safe from the community of prison
I guess.
people.
Speaking of segregation.
I guess.
Like that, I lost my shit while I was in there.
Speaking of segregation.
Did you freak the fuck out?
I did. But what do you do when you freak out? What do you do when you freak out in seg? You can't run into the wall because it's all cement.
Yeah,
you
stay by yourself.
there and you sit there and you think, because all you have is that mat, that blanket, and a book.
And you only sleep so much.
Maybe.
And you can only sleep so much.
Maybe.
And then your thoughts come back alive.
You
Your thoughts come back alive so much. And then your thoughts come back alive. Your thoughts come back alive. Bright lights in your face.
Lights.
Neon lights or whatever. Bright lights in your face. What do you call them lights? Neon lights or whatever you call them. What do you call them? They bright as hell.
They turn them off. They dim them when they time to go to bed.
They bright. And one light that stays on.
So you said.
I want to go back. And one light that stays on.
So you
Right in your
said.
face.
I want to go back to Duval County, motherfucking
Duval!
Florida. You said that.
I hope I never see
Did that not scare you straight? Did that not scare you straight?
Hell no, I was crazy as a bed bug.
I said, I'm back home. I'm home. You coming? I'm home. Everybody.
Listen, I walked in there. They had me in the red jumpsuit and everything when I first got in Duval. And I had bruises everywhere, super skinny. My hair was wild, and
There's savages down there.
You know, I was already crazy from being on. Like,
There's
doing
savages down there.
I was a savage. They were like, this one chick told me I tried to escape. Like I could pull I was so small I could pull the freaking cuffs off. Like, I woke up naked in a jail cell without knowing what happened. When I got down there, I didn't know what the hell did I do to get me. I didn't remember any of it. I was just naked. And I opened my eyes, I went to the door, and the door was glass.
Opposite end.
And I was
like,
like,
shit,
just got the
locked
shit
up somewhere. And I asked, I'm like, excuse me, where am I? I'm like, how do you wake up like that? Like, you just got the shit beat out of you, and you're naked in this cell. And apparently, I had a roommate too. I didn't even recognize it at first. She was naked too, and the cop was like, "You're in jail." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. What state am I in?" Like, because I didn't even know if I made it to Florida. That was how bad it was. Like,
Yeah,
that's what pills do to you.
Well, that's Xanny.
I've never touched another Xanax. Like,
Yeah,
I might
Xanny.
joke about it and make it like
Yeah.
I'm lighthearted right now because the shit's funny now, but I will never.
Wasn't
Like, that's
funny,
the kind
yeah.
of shit that I will never do.
Yeah,
again.
well, you could have ended
Scared
up. You could have ended up.
You scared straight?
Nah, I'm just scared to to beat up another cop.
I got you.
Sorry, no.
I got you. I
No,
got you.
the situation I put myself in was bad too. So
You're right.
Well, the thing about it is the story that I tell is just waking up, not knowing where you're at, and it could be a lot worse. Like waking up in a jail cell, hoping that it's a dream, to realize that it's not. To realize hoping that it's a dream, to realize that it's not.
I've done that. How many times
Yeah.
I've done that?
Yeah, and that's where I'm figuring you're at. Like,
How
I
many
hope this shit is a
times?
dream. I can wake the fuck up. From.
yeah, I mean, and I can always like, man, it just didn't get any better after that in Florida. Like, because in Florida they don't do the same thing that they do here.
Which is
In Florida you get sprayed. In Florida you will get taken down.
yeah.
Like, as a woman, it doesn't matter. You will get taken down.
Are mostly
like-
men COs or mostly women COs?
So because of the way that Duval was set up, they had to have women only floors, because in prison in Florida and in jails in Florida, you shower with everyone.
Oh,
Priya-
so it's like those.
Priya-
It's like those movies you see,
Yeah.
those late night porn movies. Everybody.
Ho,
I
ho,
don't
ho,
know
ho,
about
ho.
that. I
Let
never
me ask you this one
No, I'm
question.
saying the jailhouse movies. Get the hell out of here. Look at the hell out.
What
No, I'm
you
saying,
talking
I'm saying
about?
the ones that motherfuckers. I thought the shit was a myth.
Wait. Let me ask you this one question. All right, you've been in prison in Minnesota. You've been in prison in Florida. You said there wasn't no violence in Minnesota. Was it women, inmates, sexually oppressing you down there in Florida, or sexually oppressing other people?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like in a period looked like
Candyland.
Well,
Up here is just the manipulation is obvious because people don't. Like, there's something about, I'm so sorry, but it's something about the state of Minnesota with that Minnesota Nice thing that I don't understand yet. Like, it's very, you can tell it's artificial. And so here, it's just like in prison, it's the same thing. Oh, that's just artificial. In Minnesota, you don't have to. I'm not scared of any of them.
What about Florida though?
Florida, I recognized after I got out and got healthy that I would put myself in some really bad positions.
yeah, some
in Florida.
shit. Got stuck in some shit.
They put the RNOs in with the HO4s and HO5s.
What's the RNOs?
RNOs in reception and orientation.
Okay.
And they like your first 2 months
Yeah.
while you're in the process.
Yeah, I
of
know
it,
what you're
which
talking
is
about.
And
low.
HO4s and HO5s
HO4s
is the
and-
highest custody people.
Those are the people that
The
have
violent
multiple
people.
life sentences. The only thing that got me through that is because of my charge. Because they would ask me what my charge was, and I would tell them.
Fucked up a police officer.
I just be like, battery on the Leo. And they be like, all right, that's cool.
HO4 and HO5.
Okay, that's cool. And I'm glad that I had that because if it would have been check fraud, I wouldn't have been, oh my God.
Yeah, they would
Listen,
have been. Yeah.
I could have gotten so many. Somebody stole my deodorant out of my cell.
Oh.
And I walked out there in the middle of the day while everyone was in there and looking around and shit. And I was yelling like, "I would have just gave y'all the soap, the deodorant.
Yeah.
I would have just gave it to you. You didn't even have to take it from me. I'm like that." And I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Now there's probably 170 to 100 women in that one pod. Okay, these are steel trap doors. My first week there, one woman was getting the crap beat out of her by her girlfriend with a lock. They locked the door and locked her in the cell, and they were just going at it. And like she's screaming at the top of her lungs, "Help!" And then like a couple hours later, she cooked for her. She came upstairs, and homegirl came out. Her face was so battered and bruised, and the cops don't even stop for you because they risk getting their lives taken from them. You got death row there. You got people that are serving multiple life sentences that won't mind sitting in seg for
give a
2
fuck.
years.
Yeah,
like
give
they
a
got their
fuck.
whole life.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
And there is no programming. There is no hope. There's none of that.
Yeah.
Like, and you're eating the same meat every day. Like your life is reduced to absolutely nothing. You're like an animal in there.
That's all you
And
are.
like that experience, I didn't get it back then. I fit right in because I was loopy.
Plantation.
I was loopy as
What
shit.
was at the plantation?
Well, no, I
was loopy.
Yeah, I see it. I'm not gonna even argue with you.
They told me and that's how the only reason I know it wasn't because I went in there like, ooh, I'm crazy. It was having people who had multiple life sentences, people who really did some
You
crazy
identified with
stuff,
them?
and them looking at me and saying, "Girl, you a couple nuts short." like what are you doing?
Did you meet?
So you was in a dorm full of HO4s and HO5s.
Yeah.
But she said they were mixed, so
HO4s, HO5s, and then
they were-
reception.
reception. So it's,
There wasn't very many of us.
Okay,
There
so
wasn't.
it
wasn't a
was
normal
their
thing.
house.
I don't know
It was
what
their
was
house.
going on.
Right. They had been there.
it's their house.
They set
Yeah,
in.
my
Yeah.
next door neighbor, she was like, I wish I could see her again. I do, but I don't know what she did for real, and I don't remember her name or anything. All I know is she lived next to the next cell to me. And she asked me if I want to play spades. I'm like, yeah, sure, what's up? How long you got? Who asks stuff like that anymore?
You don't.
How long you
It's
got?
what's-
Don't. That's
you
a
don't-
no.
you
You
don't-
don't ask.
listen,
You
I
don't
was-
volunteer and you don't
don't-
ask.
yeah.
I didn't know. I've
Yeah,
never
you
been
don't.
with trouble with you.
You
Don't
don't
ask,
talk
right?
about a person's time. You don't talk
But
about
you
a
know what
person's
she
crime.
said to me? She said, honey, I got 4 consecutive life sentences.
This
I'm
shit,
here for
this-
the rest of my life. She said, they call me the puppet master.
And my
but I needed that space to crash and burn.
Right.
But Lowell is nothing to play with. None of that stuff was nothing to play with. But I was nutty. I was hogtied when I went in.
You triggered.
Hog-tied going into prison or hog-tied
going into Duval. So everyone knew me.
You trigger a lot of stuff in me when you tell your story because I can relate to you a lot. Because
Yeah, telling the truth,
when she say she needed that space, it tells me a lot about myself. It triggers something in me. Cause like when I got them 10 years, they offered me 18 months, 2 years paper, 18 months, 2 years paper, 18 months, 2 years paper, 18 months, no paper. I refused it all. I refused it.
I just think
and went to trial and lost.
I personally think like even the SEG, when she's talking about going to SEG, when anytime you sit down, you have to deal with your motherfucking self. You're gonna have to recognize
your thoughts.
You gonna fuck your mind fucking you up.
Yeah.
Like damn, I need to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
I need to do something better.
Yeah.
You ever feel that? So I have this tattoo on my back. It's fucking awesome, and I can't show you right this second. It's huge though, but it's not finished. And she's just in pain, screaming silently, right? And that's kind of how I felt. And this is why I group all of institutions together, because institutions are the things that put you under control of something bigger than you.
Of course.
And that goes with high school, that goes with education,
everything.
That goes with marriage, that goes with family, that goes with the government, it goes
your job,
with jobs,
everything.
Everything is an institution.
Put you up under the control. And in those moments in segregation, when you're already in an institution and then you're within an institution that is segregation to keep you safe.
Everything is an
put you up under control, and in those moments in segregation, when you're already in an institution and then you're within an institution that is segregation to keep you safe.
Your job, everything is an institution.
Put you up under the control, and in those moments in segregation, when you're already in an institution and then you're within an institution that is segregation to keep you safe.
No, I mean,
I thought somebody was trying me one time when I was in Florida. I was at work at the laundry. I was at a faith-based camp down there for my last 4.5 years. And I went to the work at the laundry one day. When I came back to the dorm at the end of the work day, I lay down on my pillow, on my bed.
There's a candy bar in that
And it's dorm living. It was more than a candy bar under there. It's a dorm living. It's not sales. It's dorm. Everybody in the same room together. Bunk beds everywhere. So I lay down on my bunk, and my pillow don't feel right. It's something up under my pillow. I raise up. I lift my pillow up. It's about $20 worth of canteen up under here.
Okay.
Soups.
Yes.
Candy bars. Meats. Tater chips. Everything. I'm like.
That's how they do it in the joint.
I'm like, man, and it's in a bag. It's in a bag.
Yeah,
I'm like, somebody put their bag on the wrong bunk, and I stand up and I'll tell the door. I say, somebody put their bag under the wrong pillow, man. This ain't mine. Everybody looking. It's just one dude in the dorm. He a Christian dude. I told you I'm at a faith-based dorm.
Yeah.
He got a lot of money and stuff like that, but he look out for people in the dorm that he think don't have money.
Okay.
But I didn't find this out until after the fact. I'm thinking somebody trying, because you hear the stories in prison about the candy bar under your pillow.
Well, that's a crib video. That's a crib video.
In a crib video.
They had a video. Who left this candy bar on my bunk?
Right.
Or honey buns.
Honey buns.
So about 10 minutes go by
You
before
might
I
give me
find
five.
out. I'm sitting on my bunk mad as hell. I'm sitting on my bunk mad as hell. I'm like, man, I'm hungry, goddamn, man. Put this shit up under my shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm down there doing stuff like that. I'm like, I put it down in the middle of the floor. This other dude, he come over, he know what's going on. He come over there and he tell me, he said, hey man, ain't nobody trying you, ain't nobody doing it like that. He said, dude over there, man, he do that for everybody in the dorm. He ain't got no money, and he look out for people, man. He go to the store, and he buy you $25 canteen, something like that. He said, he don't mean no harm right there. He do a prayer group every night over there. This and that,
It's just that 10 minutes that it took for me to find out.
Yeah, I'm hot.
My anxiety going, I'm like,
It's just that 10 minutes that it took for me to find out everything. My anxiety going, I'm like,
somebody's being,
you don't think it's
not
about to be that moment that you hear about before you go to prison and shit like that. You think like you gotta
Somebody's
fight
being,
off.
you don't see
Well, I
like
got one
charity
more,
or
thing
generosity in prison much.
Right,
So
right,
it just took you
right.
off guard.
Yeah, it took me off guard.
Noelle, I got one more thing I
get
want
you
to
back some
share.
shit.
First off, I
We
want to thank you for
just, you know, I talk about
joining us. I want to get you back some shit. We just,
part of,
you know, I talk about compartmentalization. We probably just unpack like
find out
a little minor
because you got
part
you're a
of
very
what's really
person,
going on with you.
and
I like to
catch you.
find out
just
a lot
see
more
you.
because you got. I mean, you're a
just,
very
you know,
interesting person.
It's good that you still
and
can
catch you. Just to see you or
take a person.
just, you know,
unarmed
it's good
by
that
the way
you
look.
still
You don't
can
look like that person. So all the stuff you've been through has
take a
not
person and unarm them by the way you look because you don't.
You
look
don't
like
come
that
off
person.
as being that person.
So all
You
the
have to
stuff
let
you've been
them
through
know.
has not.
But I
weared
think
on
the way
you
you look,
as
the
an
way you
individual.
carry yourself,
And you don't come off
so
as being that
open
person.
to
You have to let me
conversation,
know.
willing to listen.
But I think the
That's
way you
what
look and the way you carry yourself, I'm so open to your conversation.
I know you, but I didn't know.
And I think that's
things
what's the
about
benefit
you. And
to
I feel
dealing with you
close
is
to you.
because prior to this, I know you, but I didn't know
that
these
is
things
there
about you. And I feel
anything
even closer to you.
before we go.
But
you
what I wanted to say is
tell
that is there
individuals or
anything
wanna talk about
before we go that you want to
you know
tell
just anything that
individuals or want to talk about, you know, just anything that is working on your, if you had an opportunity, here you in front of the panel again, the panel, our fans, people who watch our show, what do you want to tell them to maybe make them a better person? I don't think that's for them to be wiser from your trial, your journey. What could you say? What do you think that you could say or go through your mind, or that you feel that people should know, maybe even about you? I think it's a lot, but
Well, just if I could, I don't know. I got a lot of stuff to say.
you got a lot of stuff.
But-
That's part 2 to
but
the
I
show.
mean, let me
I got a lot to
just
say.
roll it. No, seriously though, it's like, you know what, it's hard when people think that they're alone in this. And I want to dial back the teaching and just remind and validate, because that's what I want to give to other people, and that's what I'm doing. That's why I share my stories, so I can validate other people's stories. You have to understand, like, everyone has that unique perspective to their own story, but like, hey, that shit's important, and the things that happened to you, the things that you went through, all the shit that you've experienced, all that shit is real.
Relevant.
And if it hurt you, if you feel like you were harmed, then you probably were.
Yes.
You know,
it's
and
real.
even if it doesn't sound like where people make you feel like you're crazy because you shouldn't feel this way.
Right.
No, I am a sensitive person. And so the things that hurt me might not hurt you, but they profoundly affected my mental health. And when I tell you mental health is the number one thing, I'm not saying go to a therapist because you need somebody to talk to. I'm saying that if you can't concentrate on the work that you're doing, if you're so depressed that you don't want to get out of bed, that when you get up, you're like, what is the point of me going to work every day? What am I working for? Why am I here? Those are the kind of problems.
facts.
And it makes absolutely no sense why people should think that they are alone when there's so many of us that are trying to share a story. So like, just push it out there. Like, you aren't alone. 100%. Like, I have a blog, and one of my writings.
Your shit's cold. I read it.
You did?
You sent
Yeah,
it.
I did.
And I read it. I was like, this
Shout
man,
it
what the
out.
fuck is
Shout
this
it
girl?
out.
This girl's cold. I read just to read her. It's just like she's talking to you in your head. Like, get the fuck out of my head, man.
It's 'cause-
Shout it out.
She's
well,
cold.
it's hard to put. It's on a Wix site, and my last name is Pridgen, Pridgen, Noelle Pridgen.
I'll
But
find it and I'll put
yeah,
it
you
on
put
the
it on the thing.
yeah.
Because I changed my name.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was my married name.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah, she's
I
cool.
write about that shit too. It's real. It's all of those feelings, all of that mental health, that self-harm, where I had to be really fucked up in the head to think that cutting myself with a razor was the way to protect myself, to make myself feel better. Like, those are legitimate wires that are crossed in my brain that I don't know how to fix. Why would I not go to a doctor who can test, who can take care of those things, who can at least tell me, hey, this is why your stuff's not connecting. At this point in your life, these things happen. It does not matter how strong you think you are, how sensitive another person is. If you're drinking to make yourself feel better because you know that you're depressed, that's because you got a chemical imbalance that's taking your serotonin level down here when you need to be up here. And that's what was happening to me.
Yeah.
And because of the trauma, yes, it affected my brain. Trauma, PTSD changes you. It's a normal reaction to abnormal circumstances in your life. You're not supposed to be burned. You're not supposed to be hurt. So of course your body, your mind is going to react to those kind of things differently. That's where mental health comes into play. And if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody else. And my whole goal this whole time is I can't take care of my 13, 14-year-old son. Now he's that age. But I couldn't take care of him at that young age if I didn't know how to take care of myself. Sure. How could I get a job if I can't even communicate with my boss that, hey, I'm sick today. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I feel super depressed. Yeah. Or, hey, I'm not going to make it to work. It's little simple shit. I'm not going to make it to work. I'm running late. I'm scared. I don't want to get fired.
Yeah.
Just to say stuff like that, be able to express yourself and not just come off as somebody who doesn't give a shit about their life or their job because they're running behind.
That's where you would come.
You know what I'm saying?
To a person.
Yes. And that's never the case. It's never the case. If somebody's struggling at work, there's probably a problem.
Yeah.
And you just don't know. So when I say it's mental health, it helps you get the basic necessities, helps you feed you, helps clothe you, helps take care of your kids.
Yeah.
This isn't small time. Mental health is the number one thing that helps people keep from recidivism.
Right. But
number one.
But and also I just don't,
community is a part of
I also think I wonder how much being institute, because I know I received a lot of issues for mental health by just being in a cell and having the door locked on me. Anxiety, not somebody else opens that door, not you.
That's trauma.
Right now, you can open the door, you can leave and walk and do what you need to do on your own volition with a key, with the own free of mind of knowing saying you can do that, but not knowing if a fire occurs outside your cell, how the fuck do you get the fuck out? And hopefully somebody comes in. I mean, just it's not relative, but it is in your mind because it's all the thoughts that go through your mind sitting in the cell.
You don't have any control.
None.
I have felt like my fucking nose has been pressed to the ground like a dog for most of my life.
With your arm twisted behind your back?
In institutions, or just hogtied like they did. I don't know, seriously. And I know that I'm not the only one.
Yeah, and that's why we are the voice of the voiceless. That's why our platform is important. That's why I don't believe in reform. I'm not gonna ever say that it's not important to talk to these people. I really don't think they give a fuck. But I think that if more people come out and tell their stories,
all they care about is the plantation.
If there more people come out and tell their stories and say, hey, I'm somebody to listen to. That's where the platform is set up, for the voiceless. Because other than this platform, where else are you going to go and tell your fucking story? I mean, you can write books, you can blog, you do all the other stuff, but we need to be in their fucking faces. We need to be networked, and we need to be talking to them, saying, hold on, wait a minute, what you're doing is fucking insane. You're actually making people's lives worse. Yeah. And it's a way to make their lives better. Even if somebody committed a crime, you still don't set them up with the rudimentary, fundamental blocks for them to get back.
Learn from me. Learn from my mistake. Learn from her.
Noelle. She's got a story, man. Listen to this story.
Learn from our mistake. And shout out to the convicted felons doing better than the people with no felonies.
Shout out for Noelle for coming in, talking to us. She's a beautiful person, beautiful all the way. I learned. It's a wrap. But my deal is are you coming into
I was a kid,
No, but I'm saying this is a critical thought. Most females, and I'm speaking from my position, and I never did it, so I'm not speaking out of experience, but my whole deal is when you go into deal with a client, your thing is just to get the money out this motherfucker. You're critically thinking about this whole experience to the point where you're questioning religion. That's a higher level of thought. My deal is
everybody isn't. It ain't for everybody, and I was one of those people. It wasn't.
You're too.
I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, you're going there. Most females are going into the
the room thinking like, I'm just gonna see how fast I can get this money out this motherfucker, go into the next one.
Like that's a different level of compartmentalization for me. That's a different thing for me. Not just that. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but it was an experience that I completely took in from all angles. And that guy I will never forget it. You know.
But what else? What's another example of being with someone that? What else? I mean, you said you saw that made you question religion. I'm sure you had more incidents with individuals who made you question other things in life. Was marriage one of the things? You know what I'm saying?
Of course,
the institution itself.
Marriage.
Does it work?
No. It's only traditional in the American sense. I believe that it's a Catholic. Excuse me. I shouldn't say Catholic. I believe that it is a religious ceremony that people go through. The value of the ring means absolutely nothing.
What about the commitment?
That you can commit in any way, shape, or form as a person without a piece of paper. Not saying that I don't want to get married, but still, like at the end of the day, this shit it's not real. It's not. It's something that people made up. You know, they used to, like, you should look your history up. This shit's crazy. There's there's diamond rings. They weren't even a thing in the 1800s. Now this shit's like, that is the defining moment of your wedding.
Yeah,
when they put the ring on.
How big is the rock?
Right. I don't give a shit about that rock.
Yeah, well, they were doing, like you said, I'm familiar, not as much. The institution of marriage, but the ring, the diamonds, the stories behind that and what it comes to. My whole deal is just the commitment, because my deal is understanding the profession, being a professional worker, sex worker. Coming out of that, anybody, even if you do it for a day, have one client, it affects you mentally.
Oh, of course, absolutely. You're opening up yourself and your
You're
body
giving
and
something
your mind. It's really personal.
Yeah, to someone for money. So then how do you justify it with the rest of your life? And where do you put that at? You have to put that somewhere, you know? So I always, like I said, I was like, I get to the point like, oh, I'm a businessman, this and that, but I always, in my background mind, I wondered, you know, like, there's no victimless crime, right? There's no, you know what I'm saying? There's no way for you.
I don't think about it. I hate that whole thing, victimless crime. I don't even like saying that it's crime.
It's no crime that's victimless.
We made mistakes. I hate that they would define it as crime. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I don't understand. You know, I don't believe that every single person who has trafficked or done stuff like that does it because they have to. Maybe some of them actually, like, I thought that I would be one of those people that would get into the whole lifestyle and it would be something fun, like kind of like, you know, like porn. You know, some people do that shit and they like it, right?
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, they don't.
Some of them do.
I met I don't know how much I want to go into.
Yeah, but the idea is there, you know.
I'm gonna tell you the real behind it. I've known people in the industry because I said prior to that I had an adult company. I met a couple people who are famous when it comes to it, and a lot of it is just getting high, going on set. You know, because they're doing shit that motherfuckers usually don't do. So they usually pop in something.
But some people don't believe that every person so breaking free. Their thing is that every single person who is a part of sex trafficking is a victim.
That's not true.
And
that's not
that's
true.
what I'm saying.
No,
I don't know what I believe. I honestly don't. I know that I wouldn't have done it had I not been victimized first. I wouldn't have done it had I not thought that it was okay to be treated the way that I was treated while I was doing it. So my situation was different because I had a bad situation that happened.
Yeah.
Like all of the situations I put myself in were terrible. Like it wasn't safe. I was not doing anything safe. So I fucked up, but other people aren't like that.
So
some people might not.
Europe has a whole different perspective of it. They don't allow individuals to promote prostitution, but they allow prostitutes who need to make money. They accepted the fact.
That makes sense.
They accept. Yeah, they don't allow you to promote, But then if you were a working girl who wants to go out there to make money, you can't. Whole different social decided. If you want to sell your body, you can. Because if you have the right to abortion, all this other stuff, why does a woman have the right to do what she wants to do with her body when she makes that choice? That's the thin line right there. Because they want to bring agencies in and say, well, agencies are the ones who are manipulating these women and bringing them to the track or wherever to do what they need to do. My whole deal is like, I was dealing with women who had lost their jobs. They wanted to make money, and they decided they were going to do that.
Now, and I don't have like an insidious view of men who use the same means to make money, but it was on the other side. Like when they call it what, I hate saying the word pimp. I think that's so fucking cliche and it's stupid. But I don't have an issue with that because people are dumb. If you make dumb decisions, you make dumb decisions. And the guys that I fucked with were dumb or dangerous, one or the other. And I stayed away from them.
Smart.
So like, but it's not always that. For me, it was the clients. It was the clients. That fucked me up, like that made it so that I had to be high. That made it so that I didn't like what I was doing. That made it, that made it worse than what it was. It was the clients. It was every situation that I went to where I was opening up myself and my body and my mind to all that trauma. Like to some man who said, I mean, and I can be specific, but to a man who said that, hey, your body's beautiful, so you're worth this much. Well, here's $500 because you're beautiful.
But I think
you did this thing for me, and even though you didn't want to do it.
But I think that's more personal now.
Right.
For you.
Right, and I'm trying to make sure that I separate the two. Like the part about it, I want to make sure you understand is I don't have an issue with the institution.
The business. I never.
Like,
yeah.
I don't. I absolutely do not.
I don't
but
at all.
It's the people who use it and the purposes and the insidiousness and the intention and the pain and the hurt that, there a lot of the men that I've been with haven't had, like, that's the clientele we get.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
No.
Because you've never, like, been in the room, right?
No, I haven't.
But that is behind every person, every man that I slept with, it was the same thing. You never knew until you closed the door.
But you know what I always told my girls when I was out there? I was always telling them, like, listen, man, if you go into this client and you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. The money don't mean shit. If you go into...
Doesn't end, but that never means anything once you're in the room.
But I'm telling you,
You can tell them that, but as a man, you never know what it feels like to walk into that.
Because once you're in the room, you committed.
No, I'm telling you.
But imagine you being...
I'm saying you going upstairs as a weirdo upstairs. If you feel something about it, don't turn down the money.
It sounds so easy, right?
Yeah, I'm just, you gotta tell me, because like you say, I've never been in the room.
No, and those kind of things come with personal details that I wouldn't put on.
When I run it through Premiere Pro.
Premiere realist of the realist up in the building.
Oh, okay. Let me put in this.
Hold on, I'm supposed to be recording that.
It is recording right there. She just said it.
You
just said it on camera.
The realist of the realist
You
up
can't
in the
take
building,
Talking
baby.
to the camera.
Talking to y'all.
Say that again.
I'm putting another.
This Ron, the other half of I Got Something to Say. I got something to say. Shout out to the convicted fellas out here doing better than the people with no felonies.
I got something to say. I got something to say. Something to say.
Say it again.
I've got something to say.
Yes, sir. Like that.
I got something to say. Say it. You got something to say?
Yo.
I got something to say.
Go. Say it again.
I got something to say.
One more time.
Because I just said I need my chapsticks in the car.
commendable.